Hello, welcome to my yoga practice. Thank you for joining me. My name is Becky, and today I have a pretty basic class for you. I'm going to take it easy on the wrists and the knees today because I've been out in the garden quite a bit and just feels good to give them a break right now. So if you have problems with your knees, this might be a good practice for you. We are going to be focusing on a healing mantra today, something that we probably need at this time in all of our lives. It is a good practice to have a block. So if you do not have a yoga block, you could use a shoebox or a box from your pantry, anything to bring the floor a little bit closer to your hands. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Find your comfortable seat. I like to cross my legs, but you can outstretch them, you can kneel, whatever feels good in your body. And then just start to settle in. This is always a good time, if you can, to close your eyes and take the focus inside. If that's not possible for you, just not comfortable, go ahead and just kind of soften the gaze so that you're not as focused on the outside world, but a little more focused on yourself and your heart. As you get settled in, start to pay a little bit of attention to your breath, no judgment. It may be up in your chest more, might be a little hurried, but as we sit for a moment, it will settle in. And as with most things, when we start to observe them, they begin to change. We don't want to judge if one way or the other, the breath is good or bad, it just is. But you'll probably notice that as you begin to focus on it, pay a little more attention, it does slow down, and that's good. We want to start to increase the length of the inhales and increase the length of the exhales, and eventually bring them into somewhat of a balance. So just sitting, hands on your knees, in your lap, whatever's comfortable for you. Really let your hips settle into your support. Expand the spine, creating space between the vertebrae. I'm taking the crown of my head up towards the ceiling and really giving my spine room. Giving that breath room to travel up and down my body, starting at my abdomen, traveling up past my belly, filling my lungs and coming past my heart, and then pushing on down and giving a little extra push to get rid of all the unused breath that I've already made use of. And just continue up and down, kind of like the waves on the ocean. And once again, if you've settled in and are comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes. Maybe bringing hands to heart center and just letting them rest there as I explain a little bit more and introduce our class with a little more depth. So a mantra is a phrase or series of words that the speaker repeats, and they have meaning, and they can help to calm the nervous system, help to quiet the mind, and thus relax the body. Sometimes they're used in preparation for meditation. You can just use it if you are finding yourself anxious or agitated at any time. And the mantra that I've chosen for today is one that was kind of made famous by an enlightened soul here on earth. Amma is her name. She's called the Hugging Saint. And she asks that we repeat this daily. Traditionally in yoga it would be 108 times. But that we repeat this daily to send out healing vibrations to all of the people that we are connected to here on this planet, that they may be free of suffering, that all beings can be free of suffering, and that my thoughts, words, and actions will contribute to that freedom for each and every soul that is on our planet. It may be by a small thing, but by setting that intention, moving with that purpose in our lives, if we're all doing it and thinking about how what we do affects others, it really can have a monumental effect. So let me go and chant this for you. It goes like this. Lokah Samastah Sukhino Bhavantu. Lokah Samastah Sukhino Bhavantu. Lokah Samastah Sukhino Bhavantu. Om. Gently open your eyes if you had them closed, and let's hope that our chanting can have an effect on the world that needs healing at this time. We'll focus on that throughout, and definitely more at the end of our practice. But for right now, let's just take a moment to circle our neck in any way that feels good. I'm going to give you some time to just allow yourself some free form, organic movement. Not so much listening to my instruction, but listening to your body to find that healing that you need individually. So just kind of circling your head, maybe take it back a little bit to counteract some of that texting that we're doing an awful lot of these days. If you find a place that feels like it's got a little hitch, a little stickiness to it, just slow down there and go back through, maybe back it up and back again. Anything that feels good. And then we'll add in some shoulder rolls. So keeping the torso and your base steady. We're lifting, taking back, and dropping our shoulder blades. Lift, back, drop. Lift, back, and drop. That feels good. And then maybe go in the other direction. Helps me if I let my arms make circles around my knees. Just kind of guides the action. And then I'm going to mirror you. So I'm going to take my left hand back, and my right hand is going to come to my knee. I'm going to extend my spine and just look back behind me. Very gentle. We're just beginning our practice. Breathing up and down my spine. Nice, everybody. And then coming back through center, we'll take the right hand back behind us. Left hand will come to the right knee. And I'm just going to take my gaze back behind me. Spine is strong and straight. Nice. And coming back forward. We are going to go to our knees for just a couple of moments, but we won't be there long. If you'd like to pad, put your blanket or a beach towel underneath your knees, feel free to do that. I'm on carpet today, which I don't particularly like, but this was a good place to tape. So we're going to come to a table pose. Our wrists are parallel to the top of our mat. Our hands are expanded, fingertips evenly spread. My knees are underneath my hips, and my back and spine are one long flat tabletop. And from here, I'm going to do a little more organic movement. I'm just going to take my hips in circles, maybe a figure 8 if that feels good to you. I can come up, go a little bit over my wrists, whatever feels good. Okay, it's your decision. Maybe a little bit of cat-cow action there, if that would be nice. All right, and then we're going to come on down to a Sphinx pose. So that means you're going to lay on your belly, Your forearms are going to come in front of your chest. The head is lifted. Shoulders are right over the elbows. The forearms are pressing down firmly into the floor. My toes are all touching the floor behind me, not turned under, just flat. Top of my foot is flat onto the floor. And I really want to keep those pinkies down on the floor. That opens up my back. Take my tailbone down towards my heels. My chest is going to reach forward. My gaze is going to go forward. And it's a nice, gentle little back bend. Forearms are pressing down. If you feel any tension in the lower back, take that tailbone back towards your heels. Toes on the floor, and that should open it up and take a little of that pressure off. Nice. Then we're going to come into a crocodile pose. So you're going to take your elbows out, stack your hands under your forehead, and then let the forehead come down to the floor. And just rest there, let your back relax after that back bend. Let's go ahead and bend the knees so that the feet come towards the ceiling, and just let them free form there, kind of like algae, I think, or water in the lake or the sea. Nice, calming, peaceful movement. And then we'll take them both in the same direction, kind of a windshield wiper action. Side to side, your head is resting on your forehead or on your hands. Bring those feet back to the floor, lift up through your sphinx. Then we're going to bring our hands back and come up into a table for just another couple minutes. Not even that long. So go ahead and let's do that free form movement now. Right now, after that back bend, a little bit of cat-cow action probably would feel good. Arching the back and then dropping the tummy and lifting the chest forward. Arching the back and then drop the chest. Take the gaze and the chest forward and back and forth. Anything else that would feel good. From here, we're just going to take one foot forward and then the other to come to a standing pose. Get everything adjusted, and we'll do a few more of those shoulder rolls here. Anything, maybe one at a time, back and forth. Really just loosening up the shoulder blades. That feels good. And then I'm going to turn to the side. We're going to come to our mountain pose. So for mountain pose, our feet are hip distance apart. Remember, that's your bones that are the pointy parts right at your hip, not your flesh, hip distance apart, those bony protrusions right here in the front. Then I'm going to double check that my knee is over my ankle, my hip is over my knee, and my shoulder is over my hip. Head is an extension of the spine. I'm going to take my arms up and then interlace my fingers, take them behind my head, not on my neck, just kind of lifting the base of my neck, my skull, up, and then I'm going to reach back, keeping my belly engaged, keeping the bottom tip of my ribs in towards my spine to get a little bit more of a back bend, counteracting all that computer work, all that texting, coming back up to standing, and hands down to side. Now we're going to go ahead and do a couple of little mini salutes. So circle sweep the arms up. Bend the knees deeply as we come over into our first forward fold. If you would like a block there, feel free to put the block or the shoebox right underneath. Knees can be as bent as you like on this one. Now we're going to straighten them out. We're going to straighten our back and bring our palms to our shins. Longest distance I can get between the tip of my tailbone and the crown of my head. Coming back to the floor with my hands, circle sweep the arms up and overhead, and hands to heart center. I'm going to turn to the other side just for a moment so you are sure to see it. Circle sweep my arms up. Bend my knees, coming into a forward fold. Straighten my legs a little bit. Bring my hands, my palms to my shins, and really extend tip of tailbone to crown of head. Hands back down to the floor. Circle sweep my arms up, overhead. Nice mountain pose. And one more time. Thank you. Everybody's doing great. Coming to a forward fold. Palms to shins. Extend that back. Take those shoulders back. Hands down. And circle sweep. Hands back down to center. We're going to do our sun salutations, and we're going to do one with an 8-pointed staff pose, and with that I'm hoping it'll be a little gentler on the knees than some. So come to the top of your mat, circle sweep the arms up, bend the knees deeply, coming into our forward fold. Knees can be as bent as you need. We're going to take our right foot back. I'm not mirroring you now since I'm not facing you. And we're just going to take a nice stretch here. Then I'm going to plant my hands and I'm going to bring my foot back to meet the other one and come into a down dog pose. I can bend my knees as much as I need to be able to straighten out my arms, bring my shoulder blades together. My shoulders relax away from my ears, and I have that long line between tailbone and tip of the head. I'm going to bring my knees down just lightly. I'm going to keep my rear end up, and I'm going to bring my chest down to touch the floor first. I'm going to sweep it through, coming to a cobra pose, letting my toes, top of my toes, come to the mat. Bring my head down. Push back up, just resting on the knees a moment, coming back to my down dog pose. Now, I'm going to bring my right foot forward so I can take my gaze forward, bend my knees deeply, and bring that foot forward. If it only makes it part way, then take a minute to help it with your hand to come all the way back to the front. Then I'm going to get a little momentum and step to the top of my mat. Bend those knees if it feels good. Circle sweep the arms up. And hands to heart to center. I'll do this one facing you now. So we're going to circle sweep our arms up. Coming into our forward fold. This time I'm taking my left leg back, coming to a high lunge. Take a moment here. Really notice that your ankle is right under your knee. Extend that back heel away from you. Plant your hands and come back into our down dog. A moment of stillness there. Lower your knees lightly. Keep your rear end up. Lower the chest, elbows go back, and then sweep it on through, coming to your cobra pose. Can be nice and low, could come up a little higher. Then we're going to go back into down dog. Ears right between the upper arms. Bend my knees, look forward, bring my foot up, adjust it, get situated, and then I'm going to get a little momentum and step forward. Coming to a forward fold. Circle sweep my arms up and hands to heart center. Nice, everybody. I hope you're feeling well and that you are happy and that all people can be happy. Circle sweep our arms up, bend our knees and come over. Now we're going to take that right leg back again. Plant our hands, coming back to down dog. Drop the knees lightly. Bum stays up. Chest comes down. and sweep it on through. I'm coming up into a little higher cobra. Turn my toes under, push up to down dog. Bend my knees deeply, look forward, and bring my foot up. I'm going to rock a little bit and bring my back foot forward and circle, sweep my arms up and overhead. Let's close our eyes. Take a breath here before our last one. Circle, sweep our arms up. Over to a forward fold. This time we'll take the left foot back, coming to a nice high lunge. Plant your hands and bring that foot back to a down dog. Lower the knees lightly. When I'm coming down, my elbows are going straight back, and then I'm sweeping the chest through. I'm going to do a little baby cobra this time. Both are just great. Pushing up, coming to my down dog. Bend my knees, look forward, bring that foot up, and with a little momentum, bringing the back foot to meet the other. Circle, sweep my arms up and overhead, and hands to heart center. If the mantra I suggested doesn't call to you, there are plenty of them out there, or you can always feel free to bring up your own. Some of you might have a word or a phrase that you repeat that calms you. So in essence, you are chanting a mantra. You just not may not call that. You may say a prayer. You may ask for blessings. That's what it all is. Asking for blessings for all of our fellow inhabitants and acknowledging our interconnectedness. All right, so our next asana is going to be a little bit of a balance pose. I'm going to mirror you, once again, facing. So I'm going to take my left foot back behind me and just outside of my right foot. Then I'm going to raise up my arms. I'm going to grab my left wrist with my right hand, and I'm going to crescent over to the side, keeping my balance and breathing. That's a lot to ask, I know. Another breath or two here. Whoa, there she goes. It's not just you, it's me too. And stepping back to our mountain pose. It's very hard to practice on carpet. I'm not used to it, but I'm doing my best. It's a little balance challenge. So this time we're going to take your right foot back. Raise up our arms. Grab your right wrist and make a little crescent shape over to the side. If it looks like I'm watching something, my dog is laying here on the floor while I practice. He loves having mom home all the time. When I'm working during the day, he really misses me. It's a nice feeling. All the dogs are really benefiting from this stay-at-home order. And then I'm going to come on back to center. Now we've got a little more work to do. So you can do this full out, really bringing the knee to the elbow, or you can just bring in the direction of. So we're going to raise our left arm, raise our right knee, and bring them together, or you can just bring them close to together, however you want to do it. So let's go ahead. Other side. Oops. This floor is really getting to me. Let's try again. There we go. Good job. All nice balance exercises. So let's go to the wall, and we're going to do a wall plank. So the way we're going to do that is to face the wall, and I'm going to do that in just a minute, and extend our arms out straight as if we were in a plank pressing on our hands, but we want to give them a little break today. So we don't want to put our full weight on them. And then we're going to bend our elbows down and move towards the wall. Remember, you need to be able to push yourself back off the wall. And we'll do it about 4 or 5 times. So I'm going to gingerly put my hands on my picture here. It's a picture of New York City Central Park. That's where my son lives. All right, I'm in position. I'm going to keep my heels on the floor and lower my elbows down towards the floor and then push my way back. Again, lower the elbows down and push myself back. My body is keeping one long plank position, just like I was a plank of wood. One part is not reaching ahead of the rest. 2 more times here. And last one. There we go. All right, nice. So like I was saying, my son and his fiance live in New York City. I have another son in upstate New York. And I listen to the news and pray for all of them to be safe. New York is being hit very hard right now. So they can use all of the compassionate and healing thoughts that we can offer them. So our next pose is going to be a stretch for our shoulder. We're going to really want to invite, as we take the pose, we're going to invite our shoulder blade to move back, or our shoulder, I'm sorry, to move back so that our shoulder blades will come together. So you're going to step up to the wall, take your right arm out and turn the palm up. Pinky finger is going to go into the wall, and then we're going to turn our feet away from that palm that's lifted up. And you can turn 90 degrees away from the wall or 45, whichever one gives you a nice opening but does not create any pain. And go ahead and take your left hand and just invite that shoulder to roll back. Really press the outside blade of that right hand into the wall. Turn yourself back to the wall and then come on back down. And I'm going to do the other side. So we're going to take our left hand out, palm is up towards the ceiling, pinky side is really pressing into the wall, and then I'm going to turn my toes away to the right. Once again, taking my right hand, inviting that shoulder to move back, bringing my shoulder blades together, keeping that tummy engaged. All kinds of things to think of and remember as we're practicing yoga. It's an awareness, it's a concentration. And let's go ahead back to center. As we're doing all that focus, it takes our mind off of any outside influences. We really are learning to focus, and that also is an aid to get us ready for meditation. All right, now, this may be a little bit tricky, so watch and listen. I'll demonstrate first, and then we'll talk it through together. I'm going to stand with my left shoulder towards the wall. Then I'm going to take my right foot, lift it up, and place it inside of my left foot. I'm going to bend, I'm going to hinge at the hips, coming forward. This is where we need our block, or your handy Tupperware container. All right, now let's go on back. Taking the outside foot, my right foot, inside of my left foot, hinging at the hip, placing my block or my Tupperware container on the floor. Right hand is going to go to the block,
And then I'm going to turn my chest towards the wall and let my left hand crawl up the wall. Nice twist. All right, coming back and stepping up. So I'm going to do that same side again and talk you through it if you'd like to join me. So I'm going to stand about a foot away from the wall. My left shoulder is to the wall, perpendicular to it. I'm going to take my right foot up and place it inside of my standing foot, my left foot. I'm going to hinge at the hips, really trying to create that tabletop back, long extension from the tip of my tailbone to the crown of my head. Let my right hand come to my block, whatever height you need it at. And then I'm going to turn my chest towards the wall and let my hand, I'm going to try to avoid the picture, come up. So there should be one long line between my wrists. Breathing here, nice twist. Taking your chest down, parallel to the floor, adjust, come up slowly. And then we'll do that on the other side. That's one of my favorite stretches. It's a little complicated to talk ourselves through it, but it's worth it. So this time again, I'm going to have my right shoulder towards the wall. I'm about a foot away with my feet. I'm going to lift up my left foot, place it inside of my right foot. I'm going to hinge at the hips, really hinging, not rounding over. If I need to bend my knees a little bit as I'm coming down to keep that back nice and straight, I can. I'm going to reach for the floor, but the block might be there to help me. Then I'm going to turn my chest towards the wall, and I'm going to extend that arm up. If it feels better to just have your elbow bent, however you like, and then see if you can straighten those legs. Breathing here, chest towards the wall, neck and extension of the spine, and then slowly unwind. Get your breath, let yourself adjust, and come on up to standing. Nice work, everybody. I hope you like that one as much as I did. Okay, so now we're going to do a couple of standing poses, as we call them. And let me just get a couple of my things out of the way here. I'm getting all jumbled up here on the carpet. So what we want to do is spread our feet, toes facing forward, a comfortable distance apart. Ideally, we would have our ankles right under our wrists when we spread out, but that can feel a little unstable for some, so don't overdo. It's not a contest. All right. Then we're going to bend our knees. Have your block handy. We're going to bend our knees. Come down first. Let your elbows just rest there. And a little more of that free form movement. Anything that would feel good after that twist that we did, kind of trying to neutralize. We're going to put the block on the floor and place our hands flat there. And just really extend the legs straight, putting some pressure into the hands, evening out the hip bones. One is not higher than the other. We're aiming to have them nice and balanced. And then from there, we can bend one knee and do a little more of our circle action. Shouldn't be a whole lot of pressure on your knees right now because you do have your hands supporting you. All right, hands to knees, coming up to standing, and we're going to try a triangle pose. So for this one, I'm going to mirror you now. I'm taking my right toes away from my right hip, and I'm turning my back toes in. The heel is going to be farther away than the toes. I'm going to come up straight as I can. I'm going to take my arms out to the side, really engaging, bringing that muscle and tightening it onto the bone so that I have a lot of good, strong, muscular engagement. Then I'm going to reach my right hand forward, and I can bring it first to my upper thigh, or I can let my hand come all the way down to my shin or to a block or to the floor. This is my pose right here, middle of the shin. I'm going to take my hips back just slightly, bring my torso forward, and then I'm going to take my palm to my sacrum and open my heart up towards the sky, and then extend that arm straight. Remembering, angular pose, triangle, not a lot of curving, straight extension. You want to press that ball of your front foot into the floor so you don't hyperextend the knee. And then I'm going to press both feet strongly down into the floor. I'm going to act as if somebody is lifting up my wrist here, and I'm going to bring myself up to standing. This time, we're going to bring both toes forward. And once again, bend the knees slightly, hinge at the hips, coming over. Let's go ahead and do a little twist here. We'll take my left hand, your left hand, to the block, and your right hand to your sacrum, palm down, and turn that chest open to the right hand side. And if you'd like to, you can extend that arm up, really creating space between your two wrists. Nice long straight line, and breathing. If you can't talk, you're not breathing. And then we'll bring that right hand down, left hand's going to come to the sacrum, open the chest towards the wall, and then if you like, extend that arm. Nice, long line. Coming back to center, bend the knees, coming up to standing, always giving the blood pressure a little bit of time to adjust. This time we're going to turn our left toes away from our left hip. The right heel is going to come farther away than our right toes, and I'm just going to take a little peek that my heel is lined up with my heel or the arch of the opposite foot. All right, once again, I'm going to put my arms out, really engaging the muscle, reaching forward, letting my hand come to wherever it falls without me having to lean over. So I'm really trying to stay upright with my torso. All right, and then I'm going to extend that arm up. Breathing here. See if you can smile. That's a way to be happy. It's also a way to make other people happy. When they see you, it's catching. It can do wonders. Press those feet down in, lift the torso up, bring the feet forward, and then step them together. Nice, everybody. I hope you're enjoying this practice. It's a little different than my usual yoga practice, and that's always good to switch it up every once in a while. We're just going to work our way towards the floor. So let's circle sweep the arms up once more. Come over into our forward fold. Hands to palms. Hands to the floor. Step back to down dog. Just quickly coming to the knees to transition into a seated pose. And we're going to do a little bit of, I think it would be called bicycling action. Kind of reminds me of something Jane Fonda would do. So come to your back, and it's what we did standing up, but it's going to be a whole lot easier to balance this way. So we're going to have our elbows ready, and you can keep your knees up towards the ceiling and just bring opposite elbow to opposite knee. Or if you want a little more challenge, you can extend the legs. Extending the spine. Couple more. Be sure you're breathing. All right, and coming back down to the floor. From here, we're going to go into our bridge pose, kind of do a little bit of opposite action from that crunching. So for bridge, I like to have my forearms facing each other, elbows bent, palms facing each other. My upper arms are really pressing in to the floor. My feet are really pressing into the floor. They're right behind my sits bones. And I'm going to try to keep my thighs parallel so that my knees don't splay out as I lift my hips, bring my chest towards my chin. Chin is tilted up slightly towards the ceiling. And let's breathe here. See if you can do 3 breaths, in and out. Almost there. That's my last one. And slowly lower back down. Let's do that 2 more times. So engage the glutes, engage the core, lift the hips, bringing the chest towards the tilted chin, upper arms really pressing down into your floor mat. Lower back down. And one more time. Check your knees. Don't let them splay out. It puts undue pressure on them. Tailbone is going towards the knees, towards the heels. And here we go. Uh-oh, my dog woke up. All right. Nope. Hold on a minute. Over here, buddy. Go lay down. Go lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Good boy. Good boy. Okay. All right. So now we're going to come to our back. Lay down, bud. His name is Carl. We're going to lay down. You're going to have both feet standing on the floor, knees up towards the ceiling. Take your right ankle just outside your left knee. And this may be enough for some, taking that right knee, not forcing it, not pushing it, but taking it away from your chest, from your right shoulder. Right knee moves away from right shoulder. You can lift that left foot, clasping your hands behind your left thigh. I'm hoping you're following my directions. Extend that leg. Okay, move. Extend that leg up if you can. Bend the knee. Bring it back down, your foot back down to the floor. Now, bring the heel, the left heel, right behind the left sits bones, and we're going to, keeping both shoulders on the floor, let the whole apparatus, your right foot is coming down to the floor outside of your right or your left knee. Sorry about that, everybody. But that's life at home with everybody around. My husband is not here, so the dog is visiting. Breathing. One more breath. It should feel really good. I'm just intentionally pushing that right knee away from my right hip. Not forcing it, just with my energy, not getting slouch, not getting slack. And then I'm going to lift that whole apparatus, and we're going to do it on the other side. So I'm going to turn this way so maybe you can see a little bit better. I'm going to take my left ankle outside of my right knee, intentionally pushing that left knee away from me. Maybe I lift that foot up and interlace my fingers behind my thigh, still letting my head and my shoulders rest on the floor. Extend that leg up as if it's standing on the ceiling. Bring it on back down. Plant the foot, the heel right behind that sits bone, and then let the whole apparatus come over to the side. My shoulder remains on the floor. Nice long line between my left knee and my left shoulder. Really opening this side body up. Feels great. And I will do the other side again now that Carl has left the room. All right, bringing that apparatus up, I'll do this side. So right heel is going to go outside left knee. I'm going to bring my left thigh towards my chest and grasp my hands back there to help hold the leg. Extend that leg up. I am flexing both feet, bringing the toes back towards me. That helps to protect the knees, creates a little more engagement in the legs. Notice I'm breathing, I'm talking. If I'm talking, it means I'm breathing, and you should be too. If you ever get to the point in your yoga practice, you can lower that foot where you cannot breathe comfortably, please back off. And then let the whole apparatus drop to the side, creating that nice long line between your right shoulder and your right knee, opening up that rib cage, letting the lungs expand. Coming back up, plant both feet behind your sits bones, and then go ahead and draw your knees in. Rock from side to side, really massage that lower back. Then we're going to take both legs out straight, flex the feet, interlace the fingers, and get as long as you possibly can. Bring your right knee in. Bring it towards your chest. We're getting ready to come to our Shavasana pose. Extend that leg. Bring your left knee towards your chest. And then you're going to come and settle down into your Shavasana pose. So palms up towards the ceiling. Arms a comfortable distance from the torso. My feet are splayed open. My hips are nice and wide, resting on the floor. I'm giving up control at this point, really letting myself melt into the mat. Once again, if you can close your eyes, that's a good idea. I'm going to come up to seated as I guide you through and into Shavasana, but you will just remain on the floor. Once again, focusing on your breath. Watching it travel up and down your spine. Letting the back of your head sink into the support of the floor. We're all here to support each other. Sometimes we resist accepting that support, but it really is there if we will just ask. The universe has our back. Our neighbor has our back. Sometimes in times like these, even people we did not think we could count on will lend a hand, because we realize our interconnectedness, the web that we all fit into. Your shoulders are relaxing into the support of the body, or of the floor. Your palms are open to receive the healing, the blessings that people all around the world are sending. Your hips have gotten very heavy. There's no tension at all behind your knees. Your feet don't have to carry any weight. And you can just totally relax. Let your breath become as shallow as it can. No need to focus on it. No need to try to control it. And I'm going to recite our mantra Lokah Samastah Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings be free from suffering, and may my thoughts, words, and actions contribute to that freedom. Lokah Samastah Sukhino Bhavantu. 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 Continuing to breathe. Inhale the healing. Let go of any fears. Inhaling the compassion. Exhaling any anxiety. Inhaling happiness. Exhaling dread. Slowly becoming a little more aware of the room around you. Remain in your Shavasana pose, just perhaps deepening your breath somewhat. This compassion mantra reminds us that we are all connected the world over. The suffering of one is the suffering of all, and the happiness of one brings happiness to all. Now, more than ever, the interconnectedness of our world is obvious. We need to join together to heal. Repeat the mantra, Lokah Samastah Sukhino Bhavantu. Feel its vibration. Allow yourself to recognize that we are all one, friend and foe alike. Slowly start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Coming back into the room, prepared to spread happiness. Prepared to go out and heal the world. Rolling to one side or the other. Just curl up there in a fetal position for a moment, looking inside your heart. What do you need to be happy? What can you do to limit the suffering? Use the strength of your arms to push yourself up to seated. Bringing hands to heart center, palms pressing together, elbows
elbows extended. The light in me sees and honors the light in each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you, Carl. Thanks for joining me, everyone.